What's up, Canes fans? Welcome to the Miami Knights podcast. This is our preview show for the Cotton Bowl matchup of the Miami Hurricanes versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. Your Canes seek redemption if you're looking back at the 2002 National Championship game with the Phantom Flag from Terry Porter. Curt and I are on this episode. Joe is not able to make it with us. He is hosting our family in New York this week, so he was not able to make it, but we look forward to this incredible matchup that we have going. Don't let the point spread fool you. This is going to be a great game. Let's get into it.
I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
Still from the 3. Streaks across the 40. He might be gone.
It's up. Kirsten to the right. Oh, he
They got blockers. They got blockers. They've got a lane.
Into the end zone. Touchdown, Miami. Darrell Langham with the grab.
Stars intercepted. Look out. Trajan Bandy, the true freshman. We got them shooting again.
Because when the U is on and the U brings it, there's nothing like it. We got to get this. And it's going to take everybody.
All right, let's get into it. A quiet week with Miami Hurricanes news. I mean, it feels like a lifetime, honestly, since the Miami Hurricanes have last played football. I know it's only been like a week and a half, but I don't know about you, Curt, but I do feel like it has been like the longest week and a half ever to wait for the Miami Hurricanes to play.
I felt like this last year, and I think the difference, the Canes being in it, kind of keeps the fire simmering.
Yeah.
But listen, not to just dive into the whole deep conversation about the playoff, right? That could be its own show. But I think it's kind of a problem with this whole CFP thing, the 10 days off in between games. And last year, I think I mentioned it last show actually with Joe, is by the time we got to the national championship game, I've never felt that way watching a college football national championship. You know, college football is number one in my world as far as certainly with sports, and it's always it always has my attention. And it just, I don't know, man. This drug out 10 days is a long time. It obviously, listen, there are benefits to it, sure. I guess it's like the health of the players and stuff, but like this is the postseason. This is kind of the way it's always been, right? It's a battle. Becomes kind of a slog, and it becomes a war of attrition towards the end.
Yeah.
So, much like the selection process, the fact that the Canes are in it has kept. I lean more on the positive side, but 100%. I mean, yeah, it's too long.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but from a standpoint of the Hurricanes, I'm thankful that we've had like this break so they can get healthy. It kind of gets rid of the edge that I think Ohio State would get. If we had to play back-to-back Saturdays, that's totally different, but getting that extra 4 days is kind of huge. Frankly, I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't have played this past Saturday and move around some of the bowl games. But, yeah, I mean, it helps out the Canes, right? We get healthy, and, yeah, we're just happy to be here, and let's prolong this as long as we can. But it definitely, they got to figure out something with this schedule, because if I am an Ohio State or a Georgia or an Indiana or a Texas Tech, the edge that you think you get from that first round bye isn't all that much, especially when you consider Ole Miss had to play Tulane and Oregon had to play JMU. Those games almost helped them barring health, helped them kind of have a tune-up game in preparation.
100%.
It's been a month since a lot of these teams have played, but yeah,
it's opening the season with an FCS team,
right?
And then in week 2, you kind of it's to be able to hit the ground running. I completely agree. I think Oregon and Ole Miss were very that's so favorable, right? I mean,
right. Oh, I mean, it's like it's
like a
the dream
scrimmage.
scenario when your team gets a playoff berth is that you get one of those games because it's almost like a first round bye, but you can you can
Think
keep the
about your
team
Ole
loose
Miss, and it's like you go through the Lane Kiffin thing, and then you get to win by 50, and kind of like you get to. I mean, if you throw them right into Georgia after that, it's like, all right,
it's the game's probably not even close to be honest.
yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah. No, so that game that's a game to keep our eyes on too. That'll be very interesting because the winner of Ohio State Miami plays in that game. But your Canes are in Dallas. They landed today. Starting, I guess they do kind of a bowl game prep for this, but man, it feels so good to, and I know we've just been like harping on this in the past 2 podcasts how good all this feels, but it's just we got to soak it all in. But it just feels so good, like seeing the Canes, Cotton Bowl attire, Cotton Bowl like emblems getting stitched on the jerseys, and then watching the Pop-Tart Bowl yesterday, knowing we are not in that this year. Even though they just put on a fantastic show, every bowl game should market like the Pop-Tart Bowl. But, man, it feels so good to be having one of these meaningful bowl games that, players yearn for to be in.
Absolutely. And we haven't, we've had a couple guys hop in the portal, but of course, and all the best. In particular, the one that hit me a little bit was Naikar.
Yeah,
just because
he was iffy though after last season.
100%.
Yeah,
it's if he goes somewhere and has a solid career, it wouldn't like shock me. I think he's a talented player. So, but
I hopped on a Ohio State podcast today. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I told him that like that kind of athlete is the prime target for a guy like Brian Hartline at USF that can develop wide receivers. Like he's going to have a field day with Florida receivers that got underutilized, not in a sense of like that the team did anything wrong, because there was just better players on the roster and they couldn't get the playing time that they wanted. I think he'll have a field day. With players like that.
Yep. But it's nice, right? Like we're not dealing with opt-outs. We're not dealing with all that end of the season stuff.
Right.
With the roster turnover and all of the question marks that seem inevitable. I mean, Texas doesn't have a running back room right now. So it's it's I guess we just like you said it, this is just great. We're just going to continue to soak it in. I'm so excited that we're getting closer and closer and that it's Ohio State. The whole thing it's really special.
No, it's super exciting. And, the 9.5 spread, it continues to make me scratch my head.
Doesn't it?
I just I'm like, am I missing something here? And and I can see a world where Vegas gets away with that, and it's a 3-point game until the very end, and Ohio State maybe gets a touchdown, wins the game, and that's like, well, that's why. But when you look at a 9.5 point spread, you're not thinking that, right? You're thinking like this is going to be a lopsided game and one team's going to be dominating the other. And frankly, and you and Joe harped on it a little bit last podcast, but we have not seen the Canes in a double digit deficit scenario. I mean, it started off as a 10-point spread. We haven't seen that in a very long time. And I don't even think it's deserved. I mean, you're going to tell me that a team that held Texas A&M to 3 points, you're going to favor another team that lost their last game, only scoring 10 points themselves, is going to be a 10-point favorite on them. And you say it all the time, Vegas isn't in the business of losing money, but it makes you scratch your head, that spread.
I completely agree. And I just think I look at it as there are benefits to it. Right. I mean, there's no reason for the team to be so full of themselves,
right?
Feeling like they can just walk out into the Cotton Bowl, and roll on Ohio State. I think it's a great thing to have the extra motivation because this is a Mario Cristobal special, right? I just think he's gonna have the guys really locked in. And again, I think we talked about it, our best games I don't know that I can say that we played down to the competition anymore. We used to. I think it was a turnover problem and a penalty problem, but we certainly played up to
100%.
the competition. I mean, our best games were Florida, Notre Dame, USF, and, 80-90% of the Florida State game. I feel comfortable, whatever. No one's going to. We dominated Florida State.
Ridiculous.
Okay?
I hate them. I hate the line on that game because it was 28-3, totally lopsided.
Yeah, I agree. But this is going back to last. I mean, the past couple of years. I just think in the big moments, Miami has been able to step up and answer the call. And when you have a defense that is this good,
right,
that's different than relying on big plays or one player. Having a defensive unit that's that solid, it just getting the team start off on the right foot and being able to get into the game is why I feel fantastic about this. It's very surprising. I've been waiting for like the line to start to move towards 7, and maybe it will at kickoff. The A&M game was that way. It started to move towards Miami.
I think the country got like spooked with Miami with the 10-3 win, even though like I understand there's bias with us because we're Miami fans, but I think it only made us maybe more confident going into the playoff because, and this is what I talked about in the podcast that I hopped onto, the Ohio podcast. If you want to listen to it, probably drop maybe the same day as this, so it probably will be out. But I talked about like the fact that historically Miami in these types of games, like in the recent history, not our total history, but the recent history, we get pushed around. Like you look at 2017, we had this great season, and then we finally get to a formidable team in Clemson, and we just did not belong on the field. Just like no world did we belong, and we got blown out for a reason. And even the Wisconsin bowl game that we had, like we were a better team than Wisconsin, but at the end of the day, they outlasted us and they bullied us to a win. And so like we look at the Texas A&M game, like on the road, 104,000 people, and they come out with a W, only scoring 10 points. Like, man, that makes me super confident because defense travels, trenches travels, and that's why when like going back to the spread, I just cannot. I struggled to see a game where we get beat by 10 points, unless it's like 20-10. Then okay, like in our offense, maybe stalls again. Sure, like that is the score I'll maybe allow. But with that spread, with our trenches, with our ability to keep the ball in front of us now, and like that's another thing with this team. Like we don't let a lot of deep balls happen. We don't let a lot of big plays happen. The only times it has happened is busted coverages, and hopefully that gets taken down. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of, I'm like, am I missing something? Like I try and take off my orange and green glasses, right, and see what this is for what it is. But I feel super confident. I basically, and I don't know how you feel about this, I look at Ohio State and I look at their stats. I look what they're good at, what their strengths are, and I feel like it's simply just a better Texas A&M. Yeah, a better Texas A&M, but it's like we also didn't play our best game against Texas A&M, and so that's why I feel confident about a head-to-head matchup.
Well, that's it, right? Is like I don't think it's green and orange colored glasses to look at Texas A&M and think that we could have won that game by 4 scores. Right. I do not think that's something that if you really think about the flow of that game and some of the things that happened, that was not a realistic, if not likely outcome if the wind was not blowing 30 miles an hour.
Right.
And listen, mistakes and not being able to punch it in the red zone, that's part of football. And but I agree. I mean, listen, I just think that the way that this team is built is that if you're not going to get beat at the line of scrimmage, it's hard to imagine getting embarrassed.
Yeah.
And so I agree. I mean, I think defensively, I don't know. They're very, very close. I mean, you're talking about Texas A&M had a star pass rusher. Ohio State has a star pass rusher.
Yeah.
Texas A&M star linebacker who's all over the field. Ohio State, same thing. Solid secondary. I'd give Ohio State the nod in the secondary, and the Thorpe Award winner in Downs back there. It's which don't think was deserved, but he's still a great player.
It's a preseason award. Yeah.
So 100%. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a team that is big on the offensive line, but is gettable for our defensive line.
Oh, 1,000,000%. And we saw it against Indiana, and that's I think that's the crux of this game.
Thing.
They gave up 5 sacks that game, and like whatever Indiana saw, I know that Jason Taylor's looking at. I know Heatherman's looking at.
Yeah.
And that showed that was their weakness, right? And yes. They didn't face a defensive line like that all season. And you get to the quarterback against any team, and you're going to disrupt and make some plays. I mean, they only scored 10 points, and it's a team that's put up some points this year. Like you said, the strength is their defense, number 1 defense in the country. But 5 sacks against Indiana, that I think it was one short of matching how many times Sayan had been sacked the entire season. I think it was 6 before
6
that.
For the season. It was.
But it also shows you that I look at their Big Ten schedule and I'm like, was this hard? Like it was a lot of names, but what was the quality of these teams that they were playing?
The Illinois thing, it's Illinois. They were like Missouri and Tennessee. It was just they kind of the preseason hype train. I think they were right around the top 10 in the preseason.
Yep.
And flirted with the first half of the regular season, but I completely agree, and I think Julian Sayin I think he's a good player. I'd be curious to hear what the Ohio podcast guys say about him, because I think he's a great new age quarterback. And what I mean by that is simplified offensive scheme. The coach tells the quarterback, what his progression is. And now not only does he prepare that way, he literally tells him into his helmet.
Yeah.
With the communication set now in the helmet. It takes a lot of the progressions and some more of the responsibility off of the quarterback. And so I think he's very accurate and he's smart, but I don't think he's particularly dynamic, to be honest. And I think that he's obvious, and I don't even think this is an insult, but he's propped up by an incredible receiving core.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like probably the number 1 receiving core in the country.
This reminds me of the Clemson's receiving core with right around 2015. I just had it just
when it had
flew
Watkins.
Out of my head. Yeah,
and
they had 3. They sent 3 guys to the NFL,
right? Or
and
even
I think Evan
team?
Ingram was on that team too.
Yeah,
or an Alabama one. Yeah,
yeah.
With they've Amari Cooper and
it was
Henry
Waddle
Ruggs,
on that team with them.
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
exactly
incredible, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think that's just, you get after this kid and you start to script. It's similar, and in fairness, similar to Carson Beck, right? You just want him to get happy feet and look uncomfortable, and then from there, that's where I think we can get him.
Yeah, and I think that kind of takes us to our next part is Damari Brown is officially out for this game, which hurts. A guy that simply doesn't feel like he can stay healthy, which stinks. Last year he was out for most of the season. This year he was probably here for the majority of the season, but it kind of seems like these games that truly matter, he has been absent. So it's a shame for that, because I don't know about you, but I would say our best corner or our best performing corner. It's been the quietest stat line, which is normally a decent thing for a corner. Yeah. And frankly, there's a history between Damari Brown and Jeremiah Smith back in high school. Damari at American Heritage and Jeremiah at Chaminade. So I I was looking forward to that battle for that very reason, and we're not going to get that. And so that's going to be the matchup everyone's eyes are on. And, it'll scare you because there's Carnell Tate on the other side of the field. But who do you think, that will put on him now? Like, who do we assign to go after Jeremiah Smith? Because I don't think I can have it be OJ Frederick.
I think it's got to be
opinion.
Xavier Lucas. He's big and long. He's 6'2". He's got long arms. He's been really solid. Yeah. I mentioned to Joe, and he's going to play in the slot, but I thought Ethan O'Connor was awesome against Texas A&M. 24. He was fiery. I liked his attitude. I liked the way that he tackled and stuck his nose in. This entire team, it's unbelievable. It's probably how bad we've been for so long tackling in the open field, but to see how good this team tackles, and it's like guys come off the bench and they tackle in the open field.
Yeah. Which
tells me that's practice.
Yeah.
That's just purely, that's green tree,
and
it's something we hadn't been doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. It's like something that has been a weakness in this team for so long, like just like a lack of physicality and wrapping up and tackling. We're just looking for the big hit. And we haven't had that. And frankly, that was what was kind of frustrating to me in the beginning of that Texas A&M game, is like where they kind of started getting some plays in the beginning and get some yardages. One, our corners weren't tackling on the edges, third downs, and our linebackers weren't spying properly. Now that's not necessarily a threat against Ohio State. They do not have Marcel Reed back at quarterback, but I would say Sane's probably the better thrower of the two. But still, like, need to meet them with that physicality, because, like, on paper, I wanted to get into this with the Ohio podcast, but I wasn't able to. But, on paper, it almost feels like Ohio State is kind of what Miami wants to be in, like, a year or two. Like, they've had, and I say that in the sense of, like, I think I take our talent against any team in the country or with any team in the country, but they also have the experience to back that up. This team was in the playoffs last year. They won a national championship. And so they feel like it's just such a solid matchup for us that, I don't know, do you look at Ohio State the same way?
I think it's a respect thing. I mean, I think that they're so talented, and I mean, in the two receivers are just like, you just never know when they're going to break a game open.
Yeah.
And I do respect them. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't strike like a fear in me that we can't do this.
No.
I think that the way that Mario has built this team is like, if you're just talking like purely like postseason experience, like I don't know. I think that this team is built like a championship team. Mm-hmm. It's the way that we're going to match up with Ohio State is we have seen Indiana do it. We are, again, I don't think that this is insulting or green and orange colored glasses. We are way more talented than Indiana is, especially on the back end and this secondary, these safeties. I mean, we're talking like with Poyser healthy and Thomas back, we're 4 deep with guys who would start anywhere in the country and have been extremely disciplined all season long. And I just look at how we can bracket those two receivers. Mm-hmm. And all season long, we've been able to keep everything in front of us.
Exactly.
And you let the defensive line get after the quarterback. And so, like, what happened in the Louisville game? It's like Louisville had to dink and dunk us to death. They had to utilize the middle of the field to death. Okay. And ultimately,
and I think we figured that out since then. Like
after 4 turnovers, it was 24 points.
Right.
It's like, okay, that was our abysmal performance of the season. Our quarterback left us hung out to dry, So, look, this is not like we're gonna roll on Ohio State. It's just I can't act like I'm sitting here like freaking out.
No.
if Jeremiah Smith could go for 100 yards, okay, but I think that we're going to be able to weather the storm.
Right. And we have Jacoby Thomas and Keontae Scott, in the secondary, and that gives me a lot of confidence. Like you said, like we simply just haven't let people get behind us this season. And so Jeremiah Smith is gonna get his numbers. That's what he does. It's the same way that Malachi Tony is gonna get his numbers this game. But it's a matter of weathering that, and that's kind of brings me into my next that's my key thing of this game is weather the storm in the beginning. And I felt in the Texas A&M game, like Joe and I said when we were watching it, would we have liked some points in those first few drives? Sure. But we got through that first quarter, and it was like a tie. It was still 0-0. And we're like, even though there's some points I wish we got, it's 0-0 after the first quarter. We didn't dig ourselves in a hole. And we saw that was what we did against Louisville. And so if we can just keep ourselves above water in the beginning of this, Ohio State's going to come out angry. They just came off a loss. It's the same thing that happened to them last season when they lost to Michigan, then they made a playoff run. They're going to try and come out hot. Can you weather that storm? Can it be tied? Can we even be up by a little bit or just down by like 3 or 4 points going into the second quarter and weather that storm?
Yeah. That's how that's it, right? Is that it's getting off to a start, getting Carson Beck into a rhythm.
Yeah.
And limiting the explosive plays. And, Jeremiah Smith is, I guess, he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. I don't really take like offense. I view him as like, he's an elite player, and I view it as like a Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, like conjuring up conflict in your head, bulletin board material in your head that's completely made up to give yourself an edge and to keep yourself, locked in and chasing something. Because we have missed on guys like him in the past. Okay.
A
number of guys in the past 20 years that even to this day, I look back and like, wow, maybe it didn't have to be so bad, but we did that. He's the one. He's not we let him go out of our backyard. Miami did everything possible to keep Jeremiah Smith. He decided that he wanted to go to Ohio State. Kudos to Brian Hartline. Kudos to Ryan Day. It's I just view it as like an elite player who is looking for a little extra edge, and it's going to boil over into the game. I'm sure there's going to be back and forth. And, you pointed out, Damari Brown might not be out there, but there's going to be a lot of guys on the field who have played 7-on-7 against him,
100%.
And played high school ball against him. So
I'm sure Bryce Fitzgerald and him took some snaps against each other.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, Jeremiah Smith was one of those recruits that it was you understood the decision. You couldn't fault a kid for going to Ohio State with Brian Hartline's track record. You're pitched this. He's grown up with Ohio State being in the spotlight. The frustrating thing for Canes fans was that you saw this specific prospect and you're like, he doesn't necessarily need to be developed. Like, this man was like, it was the most NFL ready freshman I've ever seen in my life. And so it's so frustrating when there's players like that, when it's like, man, you could do big things at this school and do what you want to do at these other schools, but in Miami, and they choose to go somewhere else. Like you said, we've seen it. We're not it's not something that's new to us. We there's some kids that just genuinely don't want to stay in South Florida. That one will never not sting just because of who he is and what he's done. But it makes me super excited for guys like Mark Fletcher, for guys like Malachi Tony, that stayed home, were recruited by schools all across the country, and now have the opportunity to show, like, hey, you guys, these, Brandon Innes is another guy on Ohio State that they took from us, and he hasn't done nearly the stuff that Jeremiah Smith has done. But it's just an opportunity to go out there and be like, dude, look what we're putting on for our city, and we're representing Miami. That fires me up. Like that. Honestly, that aspect of this game fires me up more than the 2002 game. Just because, and that's strictly because I was 6 years old when the 2002 game happened. I'm sure like there's many Canes fans out there that feel differently than that. But I look at this as like, man, the players that Ohio State has taken from us over the years, in the name of, hey, they're not developing players, they're not putting people in the league, but now we are on the same stage as them and can run with them. That fires me up.
It does, and as you said, and as we've pointed out, is 4 of our 5 or 6 best players are all homegrown talents who stuck it out and improved.
Mark Fletcher was committed to Ohio State at a point.
Yeah. And obviously Jordan Lyle and
I forgot about that. Yeah.
We've got that Chicago pipeline with Lightfoot
and Justin Scott.
Justin Scott and they were thought to be Ohio State or Notre Dame guys, all the way through, and surprised that Mario was able to go into their backyard and bring them down to South Florida as well. So it's going to be a bunch of that all over the field, and I think it keep going back to this, is that it feels good to go into a game like this and not think that something, it has to go perfect. It has to go right. We've got to get a big play in the first quarter to have a chance. I just think that the way that this roster is built and the way that I view this game against any team, said it going into the playoff, Nick Saban said it going into the playoff, is that this team, that's not the mentality. The mentality is that we can hang with anyone. It's going to be about playing loose. Mario has talked about that as well. That's something he brought up. Joe and I discussed. He keeps saying, that the guys are cutting it loose and they're playing free. They're having fun. Yeah. And that's what this is going to be about. Just playing clean, loose, free football. And we don't have to worry about getting pushed around or bullied by Ohio State.
And that's the beautiful thing about this. Like I just looking back at those games, like even like opening up the season against Alabama in 2021.
You could tell after each team has the ball once, you're just like, all right,
we do not belong.
Don't belong. Yeah.
Joe and I went and bought our fan-friendly $2 hot dogs because we literally went to that game because we're like, the food's good at that stadium, so let's go to Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. Because we had hope that maybe something would pop out, but you quickly saw it. It felt like it was like a high school team playing against a college team, and it was just it was a tough watch. And like I said, the same thing with the Clemson game in 2017. And I have all the faith in the world in the trenches in this game. We have first round, we have NFL players all across the board on the trenches, and when you have that in the college bowl playoff, like that is what wins these games. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get these tough, maybe the winning team has 24 points, and that was maybe plenty to win that game. And we have that, and that's what makes me super confident in this game. But all right, looking into this game, I've got a couple in my mind, but if I was to say Miami wins this game, what would you say for that? What's your big X factor for this game? Could be a player, could be a coach.
I think I'm just going to piggyback off of Joe here, and it's if Carson Beck does not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I think in the A&M game, one of the other things I liked, going back through that and watching and thinking about, he didn't kill us. He didn't kill us. He took sacks. He threw the ball away. He wasn't pushing. He was exactly how he was in the beginning of the season. He was steering the ball away from the defense. Mm-hmm. When he took, remember he missed his deep shot to CJ Daniels. He had CJ Daniels wide open.
Oh, he was so open.
And that was the game-breaking play of the first half, and he overthrew him. And listen, it's throwing a deep ball in the wind. It's really difficult.
Even his other ball to him, I don't remember in the game when it was, but he there was no one down the field after C.J. Daniels. C.J. Daniels caught it, but I think the wind maybe took it, or it was just a poor throw. Like there was 2 of those. But sorry, I totally cut you off. But
no, it's just it was he didn't let the moment, just for whatever reason, in those few games where he just got really uncomfortable and started pressing and forcing the ball into tight windows and making the wrong decisions. If it was scheme, I don't know. But again, this was another big – it reminded me of the Notre Dame game. It just there wasn't really a throw where you thought you didn't even have to hold your breath almost.
Right.
And so that's what I'm looking. I just think if he doesn't turn the ball over, I don't know how we don't cover the spread.
Right.
But that certainly is going to give us the best chance to win this game.
Yeah, no, I've told all my friends, like, I normally don't say this, but take Miami on the spread. Like, if anything, just take them on the spread on this. But yeah, I feel the same way. They asked me on the podcast to grade Carson Beck this year, and I said, I give him a B+, and only not even an A-, just because maybe like the price tag that came with this. But like the man did his job this year for the most part. You had the Louisville game, like we've said, those defensive backs have not made those same plays since. They made some unbelievable breaks on the ball and catches. But he's done his job. And so, yeah, if he can just continue to do his job, that's literally all we need. I mean, I saw speed and I saw vision and speed from Mark Fletcher in the Texas A&M game that I haven't seen from him basically all of his career. And I think this game might have a little bit even more of an edge for him since it is Ohio State, team he was previously committed to. Now, I don't think there's bad blood there, but, that's going to fire up any player to show, like, I'm sure people said things to him at Ohio State that, why aren't you coming here and you're going to Miami instead? Because at that point, he was going to a sinking ship. We were coming off a 5-7 season at that point. And so... yeah, so I'm fired up for that. I totally agree. Carson Beck, just keep it safe. Do what you did against Texas A&M, maybe a little bit more, and then I feel super super good about that. Mine's going to be Shannon Dawson. If he could just find, we've seen the 2 extremes. We've seen what his game plan against SMU. And then we've seen the game plan against Texas A&M where it's like SMU was just like hand up right up the middle, and it wasn't working, and we weren't getting creative. And then we saw Texas A&M where it's like we're going up the middle, but it's working, and then it's like immediately Malachi Tony Wildcat, and it was super aggravating to watch. Like you got to the point in that game where you're like, if we lose this game, I might blame this on the fact that Dawson's just not taking what the defense is giving to him. And so if Dawson can just find that sweet spot early in the game, that's going to be the key. If he could just find, because Ohio State's going to give up something to us. There's going to be something they're going to overload, and there's going to be something that's open there. We saw with Texas A&M, they could not cover the A gap. Every other team this season could, but for some reason they could not. If it's that again, great. Just hand it off to Mark Fletcher for first and second down, and then we'll deal with what's on third down. If we'll take it from there. And obviously change it up every now and then. His last, call to Malachi was a great call because everyone's thinking Fletcher's getting the ball. But yeah, just take what the defense gives you and just don't overthink it. I don't know. I'm still nervous about Dawson. The jury's still out for me on him as a play caller. I think there's a lack of adaptation and a lack of anticipation with him, with coming into a game and ready for something that they're not ready for. It's just, I don't know. It was a very head-scratching game for me against Texas A&M, a lot of those calls. I appreciate the creativity because it's something we called for, but it's like we called for creativity. We didn't call for every play to be super creative. We still need these 10-yard routes, and Tony's an incredible route runner. It's we can hit him on a post. We can hit him on a go route. We've had that this year. That's been successful for us this year. So find that sweet spot. I think it'll be a big one.
I mean, I think what you're trying to get at is that it doesn't seem like Shannon Dawson has much of a feel for the game.
That's
what is, it's strange. It doesn't, I don't know. I don't hear it talked about very often, and I don't watch other teams quite like I watch Miami. So it's not, I don't know that I've seriously considered it as much until Shannon Dawson, because I'm with you. He seems to be almost like he's confused at the beginning of the game, and it's like he's like a boxer who's like he's trying to ease into the fight to see like what his opponent's going to do. And most great play callers, the scripted drive is the one. I mean, that's like
100%. Like you were getting points.
You've been watching film all week. You know what the mismatches are. You know where you want to attack the defense.
Yeah.
You've practiced your scripted drive for 7 days in a row, or 9 days in a row, or 10 days in a row, whatever it is in between the games. That's where you look to be firing on all cylinders, and then from there it becomes the chess match. And he's just strange. It's like it's like he has to feel his way into the game. And then I agree too, it's like the randomness of his, I'll give him credit. I don't like to call it trick plays, because again, I've said this a number of weeks in a row now, is I think it's creative ways to get our best players the ball in space, or with the defense off guard, or with a little bit of smoke and mirrors, right? And we know Malachi Toney can throw, he can catch, and he can run. So I got no problem with him being a quarterback, but it's the timing of those plays was like, it just was strange. It's hard to describe. It didn't make sense in the feel or in the flow of the game with the way that it was going. And even maybe like the specific ones that he did call, maybe that's what it is. He wasn't setting them up, so it just looked like the defense was all over it.
Right. I mean, there's times where, like, Tony's in motion, I'm like, all right, Tony's getting this ball. Like, I know he's getting this ball. And I love Malachi Toney. I want him to get the ball as much as possible, but there's got to be limits sometimes, so that the defense isn't just like 100% expecting. We have tons of playmakers on offense. It doesn't need to be we don't need to be force feeding, basically. Tony football.
It's the tunnel screen to Tony has gotten to the point where it's been a couple games in a row now that the defense has been head on a swivel, and I'm waiting to see the blocking receiver, if it's CJ Daniels or Keelan Marion or Josh Moore, just to release up the sideline. I'll give Dawson credit. He seems to be like a setup type of play caller. Gus Malzahn was like this. Everything that he does is he's got a play in the back of his mind for later in the game that he wants to replicate and throw in a wrinkle. But I just think that it's that feel. I think that's what we're missing here, is he's missing the feel aspect of the play calling at times.
Yeah.
But I did like the power run game, the zone run blocking that we showed against Texas A&M, and that's what I wanted to get at was his admission that Carson Beck had to talk him into running the ball.
And
it was kind of weird. It was like he thought that he was like building up Carson Beck, but it kind of was like, you're the coach. Like, what is that about? The quarterback had to tell you to stop throwing it. Like,
right. It's
you
like
were running for 8 yards a carry.
Right. Yeah. Like me, like on my couch,
job.
never played down a football in my life. I'm yelling the same thing. It's like, it's obvious that it's there. Like, I don't know. I think he's a peculiar one to me. I just think he
is. He's an enigma.
He gets affected, I think, by what the media says and what the fans say. Like it's like common knowledge that he knows what people are saying. I mean, he even made a comment after the game. He's like, it turns out it was the A gap that was working, and as like a joke.
I hated that.
Yeah,
because some podcasts.
Yeah, they think that he's actually listening to their podcast. No, his wife's on Twitter, and that's been admitted, and so his wife sees everything and reports it to him. But yeah, I mean, like I said, he's shown moments of brilliance, and I'm not gonna downplay that. Like, there's been times where like his play calls have been perfect, and there's some drives that you're like, man, like where the heck did that come from?
Yep.
Like beautiful rhythm, beautiful play calling, and that's what I'm hoping to see. Because it's not. I don't think it's rocket science with his team. Like, you see these drives where we get a couple quick outs, run by Fletcher up the middle, then maybe try a deep shot, but it's just like varying the distance of the plays. You get a short play, a medium play, a long play. But where this team stalls and where they struggle is where we put ourselves in a tough third down situation that happened over and over again against Texas A&M. Yes. And they have a great defense, and unfortunately, Ohio State has an even better defense. So that's going to be the key: is can we limit those situations?
Yeah, the third and longs. Well, you know what? It starts with the second and longs. And Mario talked about that going into the half against A&M.
Yeah,
first down play calling's got to be better, and that's aside from the turnovers, that's what I'm going to be watching, and it is. I don't know if you felt this way, but like part of me when Tulane opened up and Southern Miss opened up, I think Southern Miss opened up. It's weird to be in a spot where, 2 years in a row now, Miami's been pretty high flying and scored a lot of points, and to think like, if I got an alert that Shannon Dawson left, I'd be like, okay,
yeah.
Who are
now,
we gonna,
Heatherman?
I'd be more concerned about who we were going to hire. But
right.
Yeah. No. That's Heatherman. I'd fall to my knees.
Yeah.
In the grocery store. But,
I'm hoping we find some type of like Venables deal for him.
He's got that's the blue. He has to be the Brent Venables to Mario's Dabo Swinney.
And he doesn't come off to me as a head coach personality. I mean, the guy doesn't like to get up on the podium. Mm-hmm. He doesn't talk to the media. I mean, frankly, Dawson's almost the same way. Like Dawson's not like a media guy. Like not Mario isn't really either, but he does have this way about him that you want to listen to what he's saying, even if like he hates talking to the media. He was wearing the veterans polo again on the Mario Cristobal show for the brief moment I saw about it. But I just don't think Dawson and Heatherman are those type of guys. And so, I'm not as worried about Dawson, but Heatherman, I'm being totally selfish saying this, but I think he is best suited as a coordinator and not in that head coach role. And if Miami can just open up the checkbook for him, because what this man has done, like I was going through the defensive stats before this podcast and just seeing us even like in the top 10 of some stats compared to just the atrocity that we saw last year. It's just there was clips of the Pop-Tarts Bowl last year that were just popping up this week because of the Pop-Tarts Bowl being on Saturday, and there was clips of of Cam Ward last year, like just being able to stand still in the pocket. Like that was beautiful. But then like the next play they would show is just like a deep pass by Iowa State, just our defense getting gashed at every corner. And it's just a miracle what he's done. So open up the checkbook for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, cool. Listen, we are here. We're a couple days out. New Year's Eve, 7:30. We're the only playoff game on New Year's Eve, which feels pretty exciting. I have this this time. Yeah, I have this dream in my head, obviously, of us winning, but then we can just like enjoy all these New Year's Day games. If we 100%. Lose, I don't know if I can watch them. Just out of being sad. New Year's is canceled. Yeah, New Year's is canceled. So yeah, you guys got into your predictions in the show. I'm going 24-23 Canes in just a tight, scary game, but low scoring. I think that's probably around what the over-under is on this game. It's a pretty low one. But man, Canes fans, listen, It is here, Ohio State, Miami. It is redemption, hopefully, for 2002. A horrible penalty call. I would just leave the refs in the locker room for this game. Just don't even let them come out. You have years of recruiting against us. Players like Brandon Innes, players like Jeremiah Smith that have left South Florida. And at home, we got guys like Malachi Tony and Mark Fletcher that are going to put on for this program. It's going to be electric. It's going to be. That's why it better not be a 10-point spread, because it's just like I want this game to be. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah. I think it's as it gets closer to kickoff in the build up. The starting to feel real and what this game is and what it means to the program and to the fan base and to Mario Cristobal. I mean.
Yeah,
it is obviously you're at that point where we said it last week, and it's like, we could say it every week if we keep winning, but it's the biggest game for the program in 23 years.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, I've been saying that to Mackenzie the past couple of weeks, and I know it's going to get tiresome if I keep saying it, but it is. It's every game that we keep winning, that next game is the most important game. Since in 23 years, absolutely.
Yep.
And it feels good, and we need to keep winning because Curt needs his playoff shirt to come in time. Joe needs his playoff shirt to come in. If we lose and then the shirts then come in a couple of days later, that just doesn't necessarily feel right. That doesn't sit right with me.
I know.
All right. Well, cool. Well, listen, Canes fans, y'all get out in Dallas. I know I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter about people already out there right now. Tickets aren't too bad for it. I mean, it's almost tempting, but beautiful
cool stadium.
Yeah, super cool stadium. Don't want to think about the last time Canes were in that stadium, but LSU 2019 was not, or 2018.
2018, that was Joe Burrow's first game as an LSU Tiger.
And I remember shows, listen, I like to think I know ball, but oh, there's the U. Thanks, baby. I like to think I know ball, but I watched that Joe Burrow game. I'm like, this guy doesn't have it.
I know,
Future Heisman winner.
Yeah.
But a much different team, and that's actually a great game to bring up. A much different feeling going into this game.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was a huge game for this program, and we just didn't rise to the occasion. Didn't have the stuff for it. Thought we did, coming off a 2017 season. It wasn't there.
When you think about the stars who are going to be at this game, Michael Irvin's going to be there. Edgerrin James, Edge and Andre Johnson have been guys who have been and Devin Hester has been at a number of games. But, this is a game that, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis might pop up at.
Oh, there's going to be some new faces.
Zoomed in. He might actually – I don't know. Obviously there's a number – the stars are going to be out. Anytime, it's the Canes are playing – we're going to have our own stars there, and it kind of attracts other stars from there. Yeah. So the atmosphere is going to be it's not going to be a Kyle Field atmosphere, but it's going to be like a Super Bowl atmosphere.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's going to be absolutely electric.
And honestly, sometimes that almost makes me that's almost like a bigger test in my mind for this team.
Yeah.
Rather than the whole Kyle Field thing, because we saw with the Swamp last year, our team likes that really against them mentality.
Yeah.
But this is different. It's a different feeling with these big bowl games. Yeah. And historically, right, Miami has not performed well in these games. But this team feels different. It feels this has been a team of destiny that we've kind of said all season. It just looks different. It feels different. It sounds different.
They've been breaking trends all year.
100%.
100%.
It has not
every
looked like
turn they've proved it.
It has not looked like a historical Miami team.
Yeah.
Looked professional in every aspect of it. So, listen, I'm expecting a great game against Ohio State, and they're a beatable team. 5 sacks against Indiana. We got the number 1 and number 2 defensive ends in the country. I talked about in the podcast today. Listen, the ends get talked about all the time, but we got great interior linemen as well. Justin Scott has only gotten better every game. Blunt has only gotten better every single game. So, man,
Glad
I feel
Amon
confident.
is healthy.
Yeah, he's healthy. Like it's oof. I'm letting myself believe.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Yep.
All right. Well, Canes fans, enjoy it. Enjoy your New Year's. Hope you guys had great holidays. We will see you on Wednesday, January 31st, 2025. Let's bring in the new year with a next round berth. Give me a Carson Beck Georgia revenge game. I just guarantee Georgia wins that game. I don't think Ole Miss takes a W there, but maybe I eat my words after this. But let's do it. Go Canes. Pick up the flag. Pick up Terry Porter's flag. Redemption time. Let's do it.